Can we make a $300 motorcycle run? Let's find out. Full disclosure, I don't really know if it's gonna run or not. So at this point of you watching this video, you know just about as much as I do because I have not touched this bike besides taking it off the trailer when I got it. Got it for $300. It's a Honda Shadow 600. It's like a 96 or something. It's old. And I do know one thing about it. The throttle is stuck. And I'm pretty sure the carburetors are frozen shut. That's why. We're gonna find out. So let's go look at the bike. So in the sea of motorcycles, this is one of the two that does not run right now. This is the one we're gonna be working on. And you see it's rusty, it's oxidized, it's old. None of that matters. What matters is that it's complete and it's just an engine and some steel. So knowing that, we know we can probably get it to run. Make sure you subscribe if you like motorcycles and learning stuff about motorcycles and watching a couple of morons try to do stuff with motorcycles. Short story of this bike, I ended up getting it because a guy was selling it. It was titled, he builds hot rods, and he started messing with this bike and realized that he didn't really like messing with motorcycles. He would rather stick with cars. Also got it because I don't care the last time a motorcycle ran. It makes absolutely no difference to me. Like I said, it's all a motor, okay? An electrical system, and a bunch of steel. Now this one's covered in, it also has a substantial amount of spider webs, but that's not important. The problem that I noticed immediately upon getting this bike is that the throttle is stuck. And it's not the throttle itself, it's the cables. So either the cables are so far gone that they're stuck up in the sheathing or whatever you want to call it, or the carburetors are actually frozen shut. Now, I don't really say that people need new carburetors. There's very, very few circumstances where you would actually need a new carburetor. In this case too, because this has dual carbs. But there are some instances, and this could be one of them, where the carburetor is so oxidized that it's actually not able to be repaired. But we are going to see. Now, I'm not going to rebuild this whole carburetor in this video. That's not really what this video is about. It's just to see if we can get a $300 bike running in this condition. And for that, we're going to pull the carbs and take them apart, check out what's going on, probably throw them into ultrasonic, definitely throw them into ultrasonic to clean them, and then put them back together without a rebuild kit, jetting, or anything else, just to see if it will run. As long as the bike turns on, then mission's accomplished. We know that we can get a rebuild kit for these carburetors and the bike will run. A few other things we're gonna have to look at is, I guarantee you this battery is dead, and we're gonna have to worry about the engine just a little bit. There's a possibility that this motor could be locked up. I don't know the history of this bike. It's from 96, and in 2016, down here in South Louisiana, we had a really, really, really bad flood. It was actually a record-breaking flood. So there is a very distinct possibility that this bike could have been in one of the locations that flooded. In that case, we'll need to flush out the engine and possibly rebuild the motor. There's a lot of these bikes out there. There's motors for cheap. There's everything on them. They're just cheap. They're cheap bikes. So I'm waiting on my counterpart to get here so that we can pull this thing into the shop, put it on the rack, and see what's actually going on. This thing is nasty. I don't know if this motor is locked up, but it might be. Everything else is locked up. The oil dipstick is locked up. It's gonna need a new one of these. There's no water in the oil. It's gonna need a lot of things. Carburetor is locked up, not moving at all. The choke is even locked up and won't pull. Petcock, all right, it works. Yeah. So the petcock's cool. The ignition, rectifier got oxidation, motor's got oxidation. So now we're gonna pull the tank and pull the carbs. They most definitely need attention, and they're very, very, very oxidized. So after a whole lot of cussing, the carburetors came off, and down in the head, the valves look Well, that valve looks okay, but this carburetor does not. This is solid. Whatever it is, it's solid. It feels like tree sap. What do you think it is, Blake?
I think it is the deck stain that is in that tank. The fuel in the back is so varnished, it's brown, like in a nice brown, like a nice pecan or an espresso, you know? Something I definitely put on the back deck.
So what you're saying is, for some reason, this gasoline has turned to
It's past
stain.
It's past varnish. It's stained.
Yeah, I've never seen
I got some in my mouth.
solidified
I can't
gasoline.
taste anything else now.
That's really, really bad. I've never seen solidified gas ever in my days.
Oh yeah, look right here. You know, like look. Yeah, this is what's in the tank.
Oh, that smells bad.
Yeah,
That smells real bad.
it tastes
It's like
bad.
1996 gasoline. Now Buzzard went to go get the toolkit out of the Vulcan. We're going to put the whole carb assembly into ultrasonic and then try to turn the motor by hand under the inspection cover on the crank. Maybe it's not locked up.
So looking at these spark plugs, you can see that the number 2 cylinder, which was this rear cylinder, was running very rich. It's all black. Number 1, the front cylinder, it's white like that. Means it's running very lean. But this is what you're gonna have when your carbs are out of sync. Your bike's gonna run like crap, and this is a result of that.
So for anybody who does not know, usually these metric bikes have a little cap on the side of the cover, usually on the clutch side. On the Honda, it looks like this. What that is for is you have a bolt in there, and that bolt goes to your crankshaft. This is where you see your timing marks. After taking the carbs off and this thing's sitting so long, I was fully expecting the motor to be locked up. But it's very easy to spin, actually. Yep, see? And you hear transmission, and everything else. Cam chains. So the motor's not locked up. You think we can fix it, Buzz? Buzz don't like being on camera.
Yes, we can fix it.
Oh, you think so? Yes. All right, well, I'm gonna hold you to that, Buzz. If we don't fix it, you're fired. Also, before you start spinning the motor like this on a bike that you don't know where it came from and it looks like this, open up the plugs and then spray something like WD-40 or this is PB Blaster up inside of here. So it sits on top of the cylinders, on both cylinders, maybe inside the valves, and give it a minute and then turn it, because if it has flash rust and you start turning it, you might bust a ring that you did not otherwise need to fix. Now we're gonna throw these carbs in the ultrasonic. So now the carburetors are gonna go in the ultrasonic. And we're gonna put the whole shebang in there. So another way. And then we're gonna turn it on. This thing done kicked off, and now the carb is free, opens, the slides move, kinda. Now, that's gross. Anyway, now I'm about to take it apart. Never have I seen gas this bad. Look at that needle, man. Diaphragm's good though. No rips. It actually feels really good. It's the oldest gas I've ever seen in any carburetor. Easily.
So the second
now-
issue is that this battery is somehow sun faded. This is a little life hack. This battery is cheap. It can be replaced. It's just late at night. We'll worry about that tomorrow. We have the trusty jump box, and we have it connected down here to our positive and our negative on this side. That is enough to run power to just make sure everything else is working and moving properly.
Also, the carburetors are off and the stock exhaust is off. Plugs are undone. It's not gonna fire anyway. We're just trying to see if there is spark. We checked the fuses. It would spin if you jumped the relay, which is here, the starter relay. Yeah. But the ignition fuse, we thought that maybe the button wouldn't work because of the ignition, but the ignition fuse is fine. So it's gonna be probably corroded wires along there because Blake is having problems with the key actually turning on because the contacts inside of the ignition switch for the key is all corroded and everything. But if you take the jumping screwdriver and you run it across and it'll spin over. Can't figure out why there's no spark, and I'm thinking it's because this little bundle of wires here does more than just spins the starter. It actually tells the rest of everything to turn on and all that. So we're gonna have to figure out where there's a...
This is the second night in a row we've had the same issue on a different bike where jumping the solenoid, yeah, it's gonna spin the starter. There's some sort of an ignition lockout that's keeping, you know, it's anti-theft stuff, so you can't just jump the starter solenoid and make a run. Best case scenario, looking at a new battery, new starter solenoid. I'm not shocked that starter solenoid just froze up.
They always freeze up. They always break for no reason.
They'll do that in a garage kept bike. And this thing was not garage kept.
This thing was very far from garage kept. This thing wasn't even barn kept.
But on that note, the starter solenoid is cheap.
Now we're gonna try to see if we can get the current to flow from the switch or to the switch, whatever the case may be, to try to actually start it with the handlebar button up here that starts the bike. Upon like a 30-second evaluation after saying that, remembered that all of this has been done, which for one, these butt splices, they don't really hold up to weather. You should really, if you're talking about your ignition, you should really solder this stuff, not use butt splices like this because they'll corrode and they'll lose contact and they're just janky anyway. So now I would be willing to bet that this is why that starter switch will not work. I guess we're gonna look and see if we can pull any power from there going to or from anywhere in these wires and then see what happens.
Now she don't want to start.
No, I was not gonna do it. You had to jiggle the key a little bit on the other side there.
No, I got the key on.
It's something that had to do with the switch or something. I swear. It worked. I don't know. Something happened. We might need. We might need to take this apart and check it to make sure it's good. There it goes. Hey, Claire, it's working. I told you.
It was a stuck switch the whole time.
The switch was stuck. All right, so
I'm trying to pull out a spark.
now we're trying to see if now maybe it'll spark, which I think that it probably will. For anybody who does not know, Buzz is short for buzzard. Buzzard. Ignite the shadow. There is spark. So this bike will run.
Yeet of little faith.
Yeet faith. Have ye of faith or something. Yeet faith, Buzz. Yeet faith. We done yeeted his faith over 2 bikes in 2 days now. So now we gotta figure out to make it start real good. So now I reckon we're gonna put, I don't know, maybe carburetors on there. We can just make it fire directly out the head, I don't care. Something's got gas in it around here. Mark, what's got gas in it around here?
Buzzard has a whole Lexus full of gas.
Buzzard. Drain that Lexus.
No.
Come on, man. Do it for the cause. I'm gonna put you on video as much as I possibly can, Buzz, until you're perfectly comfortable with it.
I got more video of me talking about that.
Yeah, Blake's actually famous on the internet, but we can't put that on YouTube. Anyway, now we're gonna put, I guess, carburetors on you.
There we go.
Try it.
Stop cussing.
Try it.
I think your jump box is down.
Well.
It worked, I swear.
Yeah, now.
Land Wind Park. Yeah, so let's start jump box and try again, Blake. We have to make this happen tonight. It might be a little flutter right now, too. Because I don't think it was spinning fast enough.
No. I'm really
Now
disappointed.
brought back chicken nuggets.
The
Yeah,
bike
that's-
still doesn't run. These are the Chicken Nugget Girls. They're the licensed and sponsored Chicken Nugget Girls of the Unemployed Shop LLC. Because we're all unemployed. And they even brought good dipping sauces. Thank you for these good dipping
Like
sauces.
those aren't for you.
They're for me now.
So we're taking two. The jump box went kind of dead on us before, but we are determined to get this thing to run before we go inside tonight, because that was the plan, and we're gonna do it.
62%.
62%. Let's see about, I got the hot side hooked up. Still don't know if this is gonna work. We got 12.5. We gotta really fix that ignition switch. Yeah, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. This thing is so raggedy. All right, I think that's where we got it.
It's trying.
Bump it a little bit. It's trying. I think the main problem here is the jump box on this one. We're doing it without a battery. It's so close, and I really don't want to end this video on like it's not technically running without our hands on it.
Working on Honda engineering is never easy or fun. Oh, it's fun, but it's never easy. Even Harleys, I hate to say it, really easy to work on.
really easy to work on.
I don't like to say anything is hard.
No, they're not really hard. They are challenging is a good word. They're not hard, but they are challenging because they have their own little things that they do, and everybody wants to rag on Harley for it. And yeah, it's true, but like a lot of companies do that, and Honda is actually one of the worst companies about making stuff proprietary. All right, now it's the next day. And we kind of gave up last night. We got it to pop off, but it wouldn't really run. So now before we do the apparently impossible, which is to convert this to a single carb, we're gonna see if we can get it to crank one more time. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. Blake's gotta play with the key to get it to turn on, so. It worked. A $300 motorcycle in a couple of hours, and now it worked. Now for absolutely no reason other than to prove certain parties wrong, and then explain why they're wrong and why you probably should stop listening to them, because they don't really know as much as they think they do. We're gonna convert this to a single carb. That'll be in another video. But the point of this whole thing here was that this was a $300 bike that looked like trash. And now it turns out it's perfectly fine and runs. I don't know what we're gonna do with it yet, but it'll be something pretty cool either way.
Cafe, chopper,
It'll be pretty cool.
something twin turbo.
Probably at least a single turbo at the very least. We're gonna put a Makuni flat slide on here. With the manifold we're gonna make, you can put a regular Shadow 600 single carb on here because it's the same diameter here. That is all. Is that all, Blake?
That's it for now. Stay tuned for more.
That's all.